And welcome everybody to a Broken Wing Racing League street fight here. This is the GTP GT3 street fight that we do. It's 4 leagues, 48 drivers, technically 2 champions, not just the one. There's the overall champion in the GTP class, and then the GT3 champion as well. There's 12 drivers from each league, 6 in each class. The top 5 score points, and the overall champion of the GTP GT3s. That said, we got the actually we'll go over. We got starting our drivers off here. Well, he's not up there on, but in P2 is Trevor Bonesteel for the Broken Wing Racing League, not leading us, but is in second, followed by Eric Molinati of the West Coast Racing in the GTP class. Going further back, we have a driver that's not on, but John Schwartz in the Osborne Motorsport Endurance Challenge is a league teammate there of Nate Sides. That's an easy one. Going up one driver is Drew Glover of the Can-Am Sim Sport. Those are all of the 4 leagues joining us here. I'm going to be commentating for you. It's J.Alvarez. And with me, I have Rodrigo Thierry, who's joining us. He's also a Broken Wing Racing League driver. Rodrigo, how are you doing?
Doing all right, Jason. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. It's pretty, I mean, I'll say it's a little loud with these GTPs out here on track. I'll say that.
Yep. Thank you for having me on the booth. It's should be a fun time.
Absolutely. And some things we can note already, and we'll start off with the GTPs, and then we'll get over to the GT3s. This is practice, 11 minutes left to go here. Our driver up ahead here is Trevor Bonesteel. He's one of the few drivers, and there are 7 drivers that have done 129s. The lowest driver of Landon Loy with that 129.007. And then after that, you have Jeremy Poultier of West Coast Racing with a 130.145. He's the first driver to lead the 130s. There's only a few drivers actually in the 130s. Behind him is Mike Brown, Lilac Zier of West Coast Racing, both respectively, and then Peter Flanner, also the last driver in the 130s. Then you got to go to Can-Am Sim Sport of Drew Glover in the 131s. And it's the 131s up until you get to the 132s. There's only a few drivers outside those specs, though, but everyone seems to be relatively close on pace when we're looking at these drivers. And then going over to the GT3s. Now, Rodrigo, you've driven around this track before. In the GT3 class, what are you expecting to see the times to be?
We should be seeing a consistent race pace of about 144, mid 144 5s to 45s on a maybe impeded lap or something in the way. That should be around the race pace, but I think qualifying it should be around, well, depending on the session and how humid it is, I would say 42s on a really, really fast person.
42s on a really fast person. Right now we have Gherkin Demir in West Coast Racing leading the GT3 class with a 143.8. There's only 2 drivers to put themselves in the 143s, and that second driver is Christopher Daniel of the Broken Wing Racing League as he goes in the pits. JD Daniel, no relation, is in P3 there within the 144s. Now almost everyone's in the 144s in the GT3 category. You got from P3 all the way down to P12 in the GT3 class, all in the 144s. After that, everyone else is in the 145s, barring 2 drivers in the 146s. Probably still trying to get up to temp. I will say, the drivers further back, OMEC came in kind of late. I was kind of surprised, but all their drivers showed up basically all at once, and they all funneled in. And they're still putting times on the board, whereas the Broken Wing Racing League drivers and the West Coast Racing League drivers came in quick, and they started putting times on the board one after another. So it isn't any surprise to me to see that all these you know, there's a shutout of Broken Wing Racing League drivers up there in P2 through P7 or P6 of Tyler Anderson, and then it goes to Justin Lawyer here in the West Coast Racing in P7, followed by Scott Heath in Can-Am and Sim Sport. I'll leave that up to you, but Rodrigo, wouldn't that make sense though? Guys are just having more practice. They've been out here longer. They're putting in some punchy laps versus the drivers who've just showed up and only had a few runs at it.
Definitely a low 44. It's getting close to quality pace, or might be the limit due to the conditions. It's very, very humid, very, very soupy, very, very slippery. So it makes it really tough to make a nice connected lap. But I'm also curious to see if that's a race pace lap or if that's an actual quality lap. So it'd be interesting to see in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I'd agree. Right now it's partly cloudy at 19 degrees Celsius. I know that's not going to be a fan favorite in the audience to hear Celsius, but 32 plus whatever I just said, and then you'll get that one with a track temp at the same 19 degrees with 100% humidity, 13% fog. Winds are at 18, 17 kph going north, so there'll be some issues on the straightaway. And on the back straight, Celsius, I know, what is this?
Ball.
Yikes.
So that's around 66 Fahrenheit, and around that wind is, I'd say closer to like 10-ish miles per hour, so not terrible, but definitely, you definitely notice it a little bit, especially on the faster cars at the top end speed. Oh boy. Warming up the tires.
Yeah, and we're going to see that a lot here at Daytona in that year. Well, it's great that you guys are lively in the chat already. Thank you all for being here, who's joining us. It's a very... Actually, I like the delivery of Nate Sides there. It's very minimalistic. It's got a two-tone gray on it.
That looks good. I don't think I've seen a livery like that. So, looking sharp. Nice little matte gray with a darker gray. Oof, that hits good.
Yeah, and he's had time to work on this one because, you know, the Porsche's been out for a while.
Unlike the Ferrari sticker bomb that we have.
Yeah, getting to notice that one right there is you got Landon Loy out there in P1, repping the Broken Wing Racing League. Shout out to him indeed. Ooh. Well, there's two.
It's a commentator curse.
Yeah.
That one looks good. Man, I'm really liking the variety of different league skins or liveries going on here.
Absolutely.
Looks good.
And Erica Molinati of West Coast Racing out there, and then right in front of them is Nathan Ray. And a kind of unique one. This is that one livery we were talking about, the sticker bomb of Trade Miss
Ferrari.
A few of these Ferrari 499Ps are going to be out there like this. It's quite something. There's Teo Phil in
Teofil Salman.
P6 right there with the 129.8. He's just ahead of Josh Schwartz of OMEC with that, and you can tell the difference. You know, you have a tenth, 100th, and 1,000, and he's only 1,000th off there. You got a .805 to a .829 here, so very close margins for these two drivers in different leagues.
That's incredible. That's a very tight margin.
Ooh.
Oh,
you knew that was coming. I wasn't predicting that one. I just clicked onto the driver.
Yeah, just look at the draw. I'd be curious to see the performance of the Ferrari, especially with it being the newest GTP. I've heard it drives very easy, except for the braking is strange, is what I've heard from other higher level drivers. Be curious to see how it performs and how well people can hang on to it more than anything.
Yeah, that part I would agree with because it is going to be interesting. The Ferrari right now is leading the pack of Landon Lloyd, and there's only 2 Ferraris in the top 10. The rest are Acuras.
That's normal.
Yeah,
Acura has been the dominating GTP, LMP, H whatever prototype for a long time now. And doesn't seem to get a balance. So it's just interesting to see anything else other than Metacar. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think we do have a Cadillac. There we go.
Couple
Ferrari
Cadillacs.
and,
Yeah, John Schwartz is the leading one in P7. He's in pits right now. But yeah, just a couple of Cadillacs. Matt Wyckoff and Matt Benson, both repping for OMEC. A couple drivers that also race in Brooklyn Racing League. And then Camry Anderson.
Yeah, the Porsche
Leading out last drive. Well, actually, we have 2 CASS drivers that are just coming out of the pits. And what was that? Ben Grabeau.
Well, that's definitely in the Christmas spirit there.
Yeah. Happy holidays from this driver. Apparently.
Yeah.
Trying to get some other drivers and shout outs here. Mitch Buenaventura has been around for all these street fights. Thierry's out there for OMEC. Justin is also here. Boy, I think this might be maybe he's racing last one, but here's a good one. CASS showing their colors there.
Oh, that looks good. What a good combination.
Yeah. Scott Weber, definitely Canadian, it seems like.
I was going to say, it seems very Canada representative.
Yeah. I have a Jake Campbell of West Coast Racing in a Pokemon livery.
Well, I guess you can't go wrong, but...
Yeah, and this is the thing I like is these OMEC drivers have some really cool like color schemes with their with how they do this.
Gradient things.
Yeah, the gradient. Yeah, there you go. There's Tony Casado of OMEC as well.
What is that going on there?
That's some sort of a dragon or snake. It's a snake.
Yeah, it's something going on.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Pretty cool. Sergey Leonov at West Coast Racing out there. Evan Grampy of Can-Am Sim Sport. And Jack Daniels livery.
Oh, can't go wrong. Hey.
So 42 drivers have set times on the board. This is practice, by the way. There's 4 drivers that have not set times on the board. One of them being Ben Grabeau here. Who's maybe looking to set something up right now. He is on a lap. Oh, he'll get this full lap in, so we might be able to see what his time looks like. Landon always still leading that overall in practice. Ooh, it's going to switch over immediately, so I guess we get no transition.
No in between.
Yeah.
All right. Be curious to see who gets out of the jail first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're back. It's an outlap, so it's good to get the promo in, and SimMotion is a grateful sponsor. They are, we are grateful to them. They sponsor the entire leagues, every thing that we do here. Mike Bowen of West Coast Racing. By the way, I was going to shout out this driver in particular. He wasn't in practice, but this livery nails it.
Ooh. Wow.
That is extremely pretty.
That could be almost like an art piece, man.
Yeah, it goes to show you, there are a ton of Acuras out there. In the top 10 of the GTP class in practice, it was mostly filled with Acuras. There was a Cadillac. There was a couple Ferraris. I don't believe anything else was there.
No, it seems to be just Acura, Porsche, Cadillac.
Yeah, but of the Porsche class, were there a couple Porsche drivers in the top 10? I don't think so. I think they were in the top 20. Mike Bowen's the first driver to take us to a hot lap here, and we'll go on his gyro so we can take a look at this. Where's BMW? I don't think anyone ran a BMW. There's a BMW GT3.
Yeah, no. The BMW, unfortunately, is just a slower GTP compared to everything else.
Oh, somebody's out there, and that is Jared Shevtek of Can-Am SimSport. He just took a beating into the wall. Mind you, this is a 20-minute qualifying session, so this is open to everybody.
Yep. It's a free-for-all between GTPs and GT3, so whoever gets the perfect lap gets a perfect lap, and the rest just make do.
Yeah, if I was to pull back on this, I'm sure we'd see some more damage, but looking in on the first driver of the GTP class to go across the line, it's going to be interesting to see what he can pull out here as far as times go. We were seeing 143s, and it will kind of go back to that. So what are we going to see behind him?
I think we'll see a... Whoa, already?
Oh, I guess Landon Loy was ahead with the 129 here.
That's pretty darn fast. But I think we'll see some somewhat conservative laps on the first few laps, and then we'll see, usually on the second full lap, you could say not the out lap, is where we see the fastest times on GTPs.
Yeah, and I'm looking to see it here. JD Daniel is the first driver of the GT3 series. Whoa! There's a driver that's gone straight into the barrier, and it's gone right back into the pits, of course, reset.
I believe that's Mr. Incident himself.
Tyler Anderson.
Maybe. It might have been somebody with a similar level.
No,
he's fine. He's fine.
Tyler Anderson. Gurkin Demir has overtaken that 144 set by JD Daniel with the 144.4. Tyler Campbell with the 144.9, and JD Daniel with that 144.9 as well. Christopher Daniel, no relation to JD Daniel, takes the overall fastest lap in the GT3 class with that 144.3. He's a tenth above the other driver, Mr. Kaufholt. Could have been him. I've seen a lot of off tracks as well.
No, I don't blame him. It's hard to bring your tires up to temp in this somewhat cooler weather and very high humidity.
Trey Mistek going to P2 with that lap that he just put down. Mike Bowen overtaking him, actually. Just getting by. He's right behind him, too. And there's a driver off of Mitch Buenaventura. Spun on the exit there of turn 1. Just curious, will be a post-game interview with the winner. If Landon Loy is here, if I'm not going to say who's winning this race, that doesn't feel like a good commentator thing to do. There's the Buckies of Jared Shevtek. Luckily he
Dialing.
didn't.
Yep.
Yeah, luckily he kept it out of the wall this time, so he can take this off track and go for another run at this. That looked like to be a fast lap for him. He did have that mistake on the previous lap as well. Oh, just in general. Well, none of the other league drivers are not a lot of them are. I think there might be a few of the different league drivers actually in the Broken Wing Racing League Discord. So it's actually never been talked about. We had some bare bones operations back here. I'm not really sure what was happening. Usually there's other representatives from the other leagues to be here with us in the booth so we can talk about their drivers. Emery Anderson here is a driver who is on an outlap. Kind of curious to see what he can do. One of the drivers that I don't think set a time on the board during practice, and if he did, he set it right on the last bit. Who's P1 in the GT3s? John Javecki has actually just gone to P1 in the GT3s.
Wow. What was the time?
A 144.235.
That's pretty darn good in these conditions. That's fast. Also, another one of our sponsors, Javecki Insurance.
Yeah. He is there. OMEC, now Nathan Sides goes to P13. Actually, down to 14 is, I think it was Nick Terrell overtaking him there for that 12 spot. Oh! That's Jared Shevtek in the same section of the track, that infield. That's unfortunate for him. He's still got 12 minutes to go. He's going to go back to the pits, reset, go back on an outlap, take it back from the top. Hopefully he gets a good clean lap in. Nothing, I would say safe. Just a safe lap.
Yeah, I think it's that previous corner before. If you take it flat out and if you don't have very nice light hands over it and you slightly steer it a little bit too much one way, the car will spin on a dime. Just real quick and really dangerous.
Mike Bowen in P3 overtaking John Schwartz. And Teofil Salnev in P5, overtaking his teammate there of or league mate, I should say, of Jeremy Coultier.
Oh boy. Quite a lot of jockeying around to let people through.
Absolutely. As Emery Anderson goes across the line there, gets a time on the board, 1:33.4. You have other drivers like Mitch from Buenaventura. This is a hot lap for him. He's no longer in an out lap. So what can he do? He hasn't put a time on the board. Neither has Jesse Olsen. John Connors of Can-Am Sim Sport not out there on track just yet. He's got no time on the board. Eric Molinati as well in the GTP class, no time on the board.
Looks like we got a change in the GT3 qualifying time for P1.
Looks like it, and that goes to JD Daniel Mitchman. Buenaventura goes to P6 here. JD Daniel in P1 with a 143.92. Christopher Daniel. And these are sister teammates in the league races. He is in P2. It's a kind of a lockout. John Javecki in P3, Tyler Anderson in P4, all Pokemon Racing drivers. Gherkin Demir, who was in the top set provisionally, has dropped down to P5 with Mitch Buenaventura in 6, Scott Weber in 7, Scott Keith of Can-Am Sim Sport in 8, Justin Moyer of West Coast Racing in 9, Tyler J. Campbell in 10. That rounds up the top 10. Going back over to the drivers that you know in the top 10 for the GTPs. Landon Loy still leading with a best of a 128.9.
That's really fast. He broke his previous practice time of a 129.0 something or 1. That's even faster. That's insane. Oop, that's an off track.
That's an off track.
Ooh.
This is why you don't look too. Oh, and let's see this real quick. This is trade me a second, P2. Very deep in the corner. Now he's just trying to get it back on the track there.
Yep, without getting it in anyone's way. So good move on him.
Absolutely. Little different story from the GT3's lockout there with the Brooklyn Wing Racing League in 1 through 4. It's with actually similarly, the driver that comes after them is a West Coast racing driver of Mike Bowen, who's sitting at P3 with his teammate Eric Molinati, who didn't have a time on the board previously, in P4, splitting the Broken Wing Racing League 1, 2, 3. It's followed by Peter Flanner. He's in P5. Then comes John Schwartz just behind him in OMEC.
Man, it's very interesting because the GTPs just had a big redesign and update. So a lot of the previous setups that people had trusted or used before are no longer valid, or they need a lot more work done, and there's nothing out yet. So it's really interesting to see people kind of cobbling together their setups to put out these rather spectacular times.
Yeah, it's a different call from what practice was like, I would say.
Fark Moley in chat is putting good vibes over Peter Flanner.
Luke Patrick of West Coast Racing goes to P9. Good move for him.
You got a point. Even though they're all broken wing drivers in the GT3s, it is mostly the Pax Oceania inner team blocking out the GT3 top spots. That's interesting.
That's true. It is true. And they are running their livery as well. So you can see them clearly. Purple Pax drivers.
I think John Javecki from Broken Wing was trying to put in an A-team livery. It's just that something happened, blah, 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 and he's stuck with this for now.
I see.
But he did mean to rep the Broken Wing Racing League livery.
Over here with West Coast Racing of David Schmidt, 12. There's a lot of David Schmitz, I guess, in iRacing, but here he is. West Coast Racing is on an outlap. Is their final driver. Ooh.
Yeah, that was an off track.
Not only an off track, but that might hit the wall. He narrowly avoids it, which means this could be his flying lap. Hopefully, he's going to set himself up for that. It's going to be quite slow. Not at full speed on the banking and then starting your lap here, but I mean, it's still better than nothing, I would say.
That's interesting. Everybody gave him a lot of space, and he was trying to be respectful, so good to see a lot of respect on track. You know, we're all trying to set fast laps, and glad everybody's being respectful as much as they can.
Especially the chaos that can be GTP, GT3, open quality.
That's quite a difference in speed and corner speed, so it's really good to see that people are trying their best.
I would say any better, there was somebody in the back just spinning out onto turn one. And
like I said, trying their best.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's perfect.
It's also another thing to represent here. What do we got going on here? We have a Ford Mustang in P1. Porsche 911 in P2, two Camaros, Camaros, Corvettes. There's still Chevrolet, but then you have Porsche again. Blocked out Porsches. God, I think everyone's a Porsche.
It's one of the best cars around here, but it is a very unforgiving car. You've got to be really nice and perfect with it, because any little thing will upset the Porsche and you will spin. As we saw earlier, David made a slight little error and touched the grass, and the Porsche said, you know what, I want to go talk to Mr. Barry R over there.
Yeah, you know, that is, you got your Acuras in the GTP class, they're all the rage, and then here you have all the Porsches. The majority of the drivers in the GT3 category are just Porsche. You got a couple McLarens, a sole BMW, a couple Ferraris. Actually, no, just two Ferraris, an Acura, one Mercedes, and yeah, that's it. It's a very slim margin there. Yikes.
Yep.
John Schwartz takes that to the pits. And this driver of David Schmidt takes it to P19 with his time on the board. John Connors might be a replacement in case someone was going to drop out on this one. He is in here, but he has not changed. Tyler Campbell overtakes to go into P6 over Scott Keith.
Good time. That's a good time.
Mike Bowen splitting the BWRL, going to P2 with that time on the board. That's a 129.211.
That's freaking fast again.
Oh. Well, what a respectful thing for Chris Kraus to do there of OMEC Racing. He's the driver that was in the background that on the exit, he just kind of got out of the way entirely. He is on an outlap, so that makes sense, actually. That makes all the sense in the world, but still, he didn't have to go that far. You know, you always just have to be predictable as a GT3 class. You know,
Absolutely.
you know, that takes off track of them.
Could have been driving on in his mirrors and went off track. Who knows?
Yeah, and the limit is 12. It's going to be an incident of 12 times. 12x, I should say, and then it's going to be every 6 after that. So this race is going to be about, you know, not only track limits, but don't hit anybody. They could easily catch you out, and you could be going straight into the pits with a drive-through penalty.
Not only that, but that means you have to take the bus stop perfect almost every time. Over an hour? Oof. Yeah, that's not a lot of room for error. One little 4x and you're going to be, you better start praying that you get perfect laps after that.
And you have some drivers going back out on track, but it's just, we're at
one
the
more
time,
minute.
you know, 1 minute left. They're not going to be able to make it in time unless they, I don't know what they could do differently here. Driver's still out there, Nathan Ray. Sitting in P11 at the moment with Lilac Zier of West Coast Racing behind him in P12.
It depends on the qualifying session. If we have any overedge, if we get a little bit of extra time after the official countdown ends, but you have to be on your lap, I believe. You have to cross the finish line before the timer ends. Should be a lot less traffic.
That would be the case. I would, yeah, I agree with you on that one. Peter Flanner behind, maybe trying to get a tow here as they cross the line. Things change. Peter Flanner did go faster. Went to P4 with that lap, overtaking Trey Mistack. Trevor Bonesteel sitting in P3. Trey Mistack's on an out lap, and yeah, he's not going to get time on the board to do another lap.
No, I don't think so. That was interesting. I think he touched a little bit of dirt on that bus stop, and man, the car was spitting out dirt out into the track.
That's going to be a new thing here. Gave Javecki a tow.
That should make things a little bit more interesting, and we'll see who gets caught out by that, because we're all used to one thing, and now having a new addition of difficulty should make for a more exciting race.
Yeah, I mean, going off of what we see here in the 1 through 5, it's Broken Wing Racing League with a split of Mike Bowen in P2 on the GTP class. And then over to the GT3s, it's John Javecki leading with a P1 through 5 of Broken Wing Racing League drivers, followed by Gurk and Demir in 6, Tyler J. Campbell in 7, Scott Keith of Can-Am SimSport in P8, Mitch Buenaventura of OMEC in P9. That is, that's quite something.
Yep, I'll be curious to see any kind of team tactics going on between leagues. Should be interesting how they work together, or if they don't. Ooh, going all the way down to the apron.
And he was P14, but can this improve for Nick Terrell here? And it doesn't look like it does. That was Nick Terrell of Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. It's a lot.
Yes, we will continue to refer to them as OMEC from now on.
So you know who's in P1 through 15. CASS of Ian Arnold in 16. OMEC's Nathan Sides in 17. CASS of Ben Grabo in 18. OMEC of Matt Benson in 19. CASS Robert Lowry in 20. OMEC of Matthew Wyckoff in 21. 22 is CASS Emery Anderson. 23 is CASS Luke Filippone, followed by John Javecki in P1 there. Christopher Daniel P2, JD Daniel P3, Jeff Koffold in 4th, all broken wing. Tyler Anderson as well. And that West Coast Racing of Gherkin Demir and Tyler J. Campbell. CASS of Scott Keith. OMEC of Mitch Buenaventura. West Coast Racing of Jason Lawyer, and OMEC of Jesse Olson in 11. Scott Weber in 12 of Broken Wing Racing League. 13 is West Coast Racing of David Schmidt. Sergey Lenov, Scott Dancer, all West Coast Racing. OMEC of Tony Casado in 16. CASS of Eric Kuehl in 17. OMEC of Chris Kraus in 18. CASS Evan G. Gramke in 19. 20 of Alex Holler in 20. OMEC of Adam Dahl in 21. CASS of Jared Stavek in 22. And Aaron C.J. Mills in 23. All CASS in that. That's always going to be a mouthful.
Yep. And in chat, we're getting some well wishes to some of the racers. And well wishes to all the racers.
And with lap 1, we're on the this is just for Street Fight, but I was going to say for following in the GT3 series, we're going to be seeing full pace car laps, but this is a back straight pace event.
Some very cold tires going into turn 1. So
hit all drivers. Well, unfortunately, we got to look at it. Not unfortunate, but we have to look at everybody. This is going to be a big race with 2 classes, 12 drivers, 6 in each class of all 4 leagues. The fastest of each league's drivers. It's really a good test to show the strong drivers from each league going up into a battle, as they have a pretty good gap there, Rodrigo, to the GT3s to start this out.
Well, that's good. It's always good to have a gap, because you never know what the carnage is going to be, and you'll have more time to react as a GT3. Especially with this turn 1, and I know their tires are going to be very, very cold, so it's going to be very, very sketchy.
Pace car
Hopefully
is in.
Oh boy.
And Landon Lloyd takes that early lead.
Green flag, and we're on the way to turn 1.
Trevor Bonzo looking to drop 2 positions at the start of this race as Eric Malati goes ahead at the moment. And actually takes another spot on Peter Flanner. He loses a position. He's in the number 10 Acura. And a few more drivers down the lineup here as we have Trevor Bonzo down 2. He's got Peter Flanner ahead of him. Trey Mistak behind, following down 1 position at the start of this race. John Schwartz holds position at the moment. And look at that, there's a dive down the inside of Teo Phil. Oh, and Mike Bowen is off. He was sitting P2, and there's a driver off on the side. And,
no! Oh.
That is some
That's a big one.
carnage in the back. As Luke Patrick's going to be all out of shape here as Nick Terrell gets by him on that one. Further back, we have Ian Arnold, who's on the outside and letting some of these drivers by him.
I think he's just limping at home.
He might be fine here. Christopher Daniel leads over Gherkin Demir, who takes P2. That's 4 positions gained for him. Tyler J. Campbell up into 3rd.
Oh boy, what happened to John?
I'm not sure. Tyler Anderson into P3 here up to. Whoa! And Tyler J. Campbell spins. Hopefully he's going to be out on the outside there. Everyone lets him. He's going to. Gotta wait for everybody. And Lilac Zier down 6. He's going to have to start making up some positions here. And so he could buy a lot of people. Eric Molinari battling out for P2 at the moment.
I think John probably ended up getting caught out in that big wreck of the GTPs because it looked like it spanned for quite a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it would have. It would have. That driver entered horizontally onto the track, and they just came together from what we could tell from that angle. Eric Molinari gets ahead of Peter Flanner, now taking up 4 positions here for West Coast Racing. You know, almost to be an equalizer here is West Coast Racing driver was in P2, and now another one takes that spot. Peter Flanner sits in 3rd. He's still up 1 position. Trey Mistak is just behind Trevor Bonesteel here. John Schwartz up 1 position. Nathan Ray up 4. Elliot Burton up 5. And there's Mike Bowen. He's down 8, but it looks like he's not out of this. He might have just spun, but he doesn't look out of it.
Yeah, I think he's just serving a slowdown penalty there on the high line.
Yeah.
Which is what drivers end up doing.
I would agree with that assessment. I think he's letting that happen. Yeah,
Probably a little flustered after that spin.
Oh, absolutely. Robert Louderty of Can-Am Sim Sport, another driver who's caught out by that incident. He's making his way through the drivers at this moment. Another driver that's doing that is Matthew Wyckoff. He's technically up 2 positions, which is kind of surprising there. Tyler Anderson gets past right here on Gherkin Demir for P2. That's going to seat the Broken Racing League toward the 1-2 right now. But Matthew Wyckoff's on the outside here. This could cause some disturbance this early in the race. Usually it happens a little bit later. Rodrigo, as far as your thoughts as a driver, what would be the most distressing thing knowing that you have drivers that are really going to itch past all of them, maybe not be as patient as you'd like them to be, especially this early on in the race?
Honestly, just try to be predictable, and if you see headlights flashing, they're probably going to dive bomb that corner, so just be aware and drive as well as you can and survive. It's mainly, you got to keep it real simple because you start to think more and you're not going to make the corners right.
There's Jared Stevek. He's defending against Aaron C.J. Mills in that white Ferrari on the outside there.
Got a bad run on that, so he's going to have to... it's going to be a tight little bust-up fight, so it should be interesting. And the Porsche is right behind there, too.
Scott Dancer in that Porsche, that lime green Porsche.
Oh, boy.
No longer is it...
All right. A sensible move. Everybody survived.
Not only that, but yeah, looks like Scott Dancer's the one that wins that on this exchange of feats here. When people are trying to attack, he got swallowed up on now having to defend, and it's on the couldn't really do anything on the outside.
Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately, the Porsches, whenever they're coming out of that braking zone and going onto the backstretch, they can put the power down so early. It makes it for a very...
Whoa.
That's a bit of contact.
Yeah, Jeff Koffel there is sending down the inside line. That's going to be a bunch of positions lost. He's already lost a few here. Unfortunate for his race.
That's frustrating.
And we saw this ahead. Chris Kraus here and of OMEC Racing, or OMEC, and West Coast Racing of Justin Lear battling out with Sergey Linov just behind. Now, you said this before, Rodrigo. it's a team game. It's a league game. You're not going to send one down on your league mate. It just wouldn't be smart.
Usually not. You want to have some form of communication, and you know, if I'm having a faster lap time than you, let me go in front so we can work together and get faster, or let me get away and then help me block this other guy. You know, there's a lot of different moves that can be played here. So I'd be curious to see what they end up communicating with each other. All the leagues end up communicating to their teammates.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's John Trevecki before the bus stop overtakes Chris Quo of Can-Am Sport.
Looks like he's not too damaged. He just might have lost a lot of positions in that incident earlier.
Yeah, he could have been that he just had to make avoiding action there. And Alex Haller of OMEC. He's got Jeff Koffel ahead of him. And it looks like Mitch Buenaventura was also on the outs there with that one. It's unfortunate. It looked like he was having a pretty strong start. Going over to Eric Molinati, who goes down the inside line of Landon Lloyd. They're going to go side by side, and they get lap traffic already. Landon Lloyd's going to take that. Already gets passed. And Eric Molinati takes the lead of this race in the GTP class over Landon Lloyd.
Impressive pass. An inside pass is not an easy thing to do. Very difficult. Very well executed to not take each other out.
And now...
Oh boy. No. That's a little deep.
Very deep. As they're contending with traffic, and he split those two GT3s. What a maneuver! As Trey Misak's going to be doing the same thing to Trevor Bonesteel, who is a Broken Wing Racing League driver. Look at the exit there. How it's a little complex there. Elliot Burton having to go split the two as well. That is not easy to do.
That's impressive. Those brakes are working overtime for Landon.
Absolutely. And this is the type of scenarios we're going to see as we have Mike Bowen coming out with Nathan Ray. He's in that blue Acura, Nathan Ray, and Mike Bowen on the outside is probably going to get him on the gets him on the banking. Doesn't have to worry about trying to pass him into turn one, but can Nathan Ray fight back? I mean, the pace difference was this driver qualified P2 and Nathan Ray was further back.
Looks like he touched the wall there a little bit.
Just a little bit. John Schwartz is getting racing. He's at 2 positions at the start of this race. He gets past Trevor Bonesteel. Now he's got Trey Mistak inside. That's 2 drops for yikes. Unsettled. Sergey is definitely unsettled. Oh no! And that's Mike Bowen that's involved in that. Okay, they're back on the track.
Yeah, you unsettle that Porsche just a little bit once. The next few corners are very sketchy.
Elliot Burton on the inside.
Wow.
And Trevor Bonesteel on the outside.
Looks like they're being respectful, letting Elliot go through and just trying to work with each other.
I don't know. I think Trevor's putting the screws to him. He gets close to him and he's coming back at him. I
think he let him through for that because it made no sense to try to fight each other going into the bus stop. They're just going to lose a lot of time.
I hope you're right.
Oh,
but look at that. That's Elliot Burton making a move on Trey Mistak.
I think he
slowdown penalty.
Slowdown penalty. He was on the outside line.
Oh,
it's really.
God.
Oh, Landon.
Oh, they came together.
Oh no, he's dead.
Eric Molinati, and yikes! And he looks like he gets hit a second time. That's.
Ooh, he went down to the apron. That's. While that is allowed, you are on the hook for any incidents you cause. So that is a very unfortunate end to Landon race there.
Landon Lloyd almost permanently out of this race off that.
OMEC and a GT3 to stay in line. Oh, against Mr. Incident himself, Tyler Anderson from Broken Wing. Gotta help keep Mr. Anderson's incident points up, you know.
Elliot Burton's on a tear. Qualified, not so great, but look at him in P3, ahead of
on a Cadillac.
Yeah, ahead of OMEC of John Schwartz.
Also a Cadillac. Interesting. While not the fastest, it seems like these drivers are very comfortable in these machines, and they sound great. So that's another bonus.
And I will say this is why we got Mike Bowen here. Recovery for him. He's got Nathan Ray though in his sights, and he passed Nathan Ray, but now they're going neck and neck here. He's going to try to get past him here to turn 1. It is close.
Whoa.
All right, and he holds it for now. And
smart move.
We're going to pull back just a slight bit. We have Elliot Burton, who had that clear run, but these two are teammates previously. So Peter Flander and Elliot Burton showing each other a little bit of respect, and it looks like he just went deep there, Peter Flander, and was Elliot had the move down, and he gets past him. P2. That's 11 positions gained for this driver. He's got Eric Molinati a full 8 seconds.
I think that was definitely a good call between them. You know, hey, I'm feeling faster. Can I go through? And Peter's a great guy to work with, and also another fast driver. So it's great to see these tactics at work.
Patrick of West Coast Racing in that 7-Eleven. It's just he's already on the out there. Of course, it was going to be a kind of.
He was trying to get it stopped, and unfortunately it locked up a little bit and then slid out into the gravel and spun. It's very easy to do in prototypes. It's very unforgiving.
Now we're going to go over to Christopher Daniel here, who's in P1 in the GT3 class. He's got a 0.910 difference to Tyler Anderson, who's just behind. Durkin, he's got almost 3 seconds now, 2.9 to Tyler Anderson in P3. JD Daniel down into P4 here. Tony Casado of OMEC in P5. I've said it before, but we'll go over to Nate Sides, who's actually battling out, trying to get past some of these drivers. He's one of the GTPs that is going to be doing a recovery race here. But going back over to Tony Casado of OMEC, really strong driver. I've seen him in the street fights before. One of OMEC's stronger drivers from the previous races. He's got Nate Sides in a separate class above him, but he's the fastest OMEC out there on track right now in P5. A couple of West Coast Racing drivers, or actually only one West Coast Racing driver ahead in the GT3 class, and then right behind him, weirdly enough, is Can-Am SimSport of Scott Keith. I keep wanting to say Keith Scott for some reason. He just gets the inside line down on Tony Casado and actually makes the move.
That was a great move. Does he have it done, though?
I think so. And look at that. P15 and 16 and 17 are all right behind in the GTP class.
Oh, they're just trying to get through and they can't.
Look at that. This actually splits it. That move made it easier for him as Lilac Zier of West Coast Racing continues. Emery Anderson slots him behind, 3/10 behind. Ian Arnold
it's
also
missing
with that.
It's missing a spoiler. He doesn't have a rear wing.
Oh, Emery does not have a rear wing. What the? That level of downforce is surely going to affect the car.
Well, definitely in the braking zones, but not in the top speed. He'll probably be gaining a little bit more than normal. That's interesting.
Now, there was a big, I think it was, what did I say, 2.9 seconds?
Yeah, right around there, 3 seconds between P2 and P3. But in multi-class, 3 seconds is not a lot. One little interaction, they slow you down, and you can lose that time really quick.
Not only that, JD Daniel was a little bit further back from P3. he was just almost in his own race on his own, but look at Gherkin having to move out of the way for these the CASS drivers, Arnold and Emery Anderson. Really sent him back a little bit, pushed him right back into the heels of J.D. Daniel here, the Pax Oceani Broken Ring Racing League drivers. But yeah, that's something. It's on the board. As Peter Flanner now has Elliott Burton, 1/10 separation. They are league mates, but I don't think they're going to be. They are keeping it pretty clean, but I still think that Peter's going to want to finish ahead of Elliott. Also former teammates, so they know how each other thinks.
And they're both actually really good about saving their tires, so we'll see which one does a better job in this in the long run. They're just masters at it. It really is an art.
Over here in P21 of Nate Sides of Oakland OMEC, and he's got a 3/10 separation. Ooh, there's the drivers. Scott Weber having to. I'm not sure if he had to take evasive action or he just lost his.
Might have been driving in his mirrors.
Yeah.
And lost your braking point. It's real easy to do. It's a very fast braking point, and you can really screw it up.
J.D. Daniel now closer than ever. His last lap was almost even with Gherkin Demirs for P3.
It's a very fast lap with full fuel. Well, a little bit less than full right now. Yeah, it's a very respectable lap.
It's Robert Lowry in P19 going past both of them. Very well done. Sergey Lenov, who was involved in one of those incidents. I wouldn't say he did anything wrong, but he did, I think, have to take evasive action at one point.
Oh, yeah. I believe he got cut off by a GTP, and I think he made quite a jerk reaction. His inputs got really wonky.
Yeah,
really loose.
He spun, yeah. He spun right there in that section, too.
Yeah, on the kink, he got a little bit loose, trying to dodge that GTP, and then his tires were like lava for the next corner, and he spun.
Yeah, that was it. It's unfortunate.
Porsche is very unforgiving. You make one mistake, you pay for it in the next 3 corners.
All right. Back over to J.D. Daniel. Does he have the necessary run here? He's 1/10 separated from Gherkin Demir. This is the battle for P3 in the GT3 class. He hasn't made a move yet.
To do it.
Yeah.
He's saving fuel. He's saving a lot of fuel. It's way off the gas very early. This is probably a great race strategy. He's probably on. Gherkin has really good pace compared to JD, so he's probably just saving behind him, which he will come out ahead on the pit stop.
Maybe that's what he's going for. We haven't even talked about strategy yet, but we have 2 drivers that are out. Emery Anderson and Lilac Zier. Do you think they're already splashing to just go full field to the end of this race? Lap 14?
I think it's from previous incidents. These 2 drivers had damage. I remember that Porsche didn't have that rear wing, so now it has it. Looks like they went for repairs.
Okay. But they came out identical to each other. So whatever damage they had was somewhat the same.
Ooh, that's a little...
I don't know if that move was down. Chris Kraus narrowly avoided that one.
That GT3 driver definitely did the work to avoid that incident. Or at least from being taken out.
Yeah, exactly that. Whoa! Robert Lowry and Matthew Wyckoff almost came to blows there.
Yeah, it's a little tough since we're in different leagues, different discords, and if you don't really call out, "Hey, I'm going to pit," some people may not see that until too late, and everybody takes a different line trying to come into the pit. So always interesting, and sometimes stuff like that happens. Thankfully, nothing bad happened. good avoidance. Barely.
Yeah, I agree. Just briefly, we saw from that last cam. He's really going for it. Henry Anderson on Tony Casado. That's going to put him out wide, too. Is Tony Casado battling? Yes, he is. He's got Scott Keith right there. This is the battle for P5.
It's a tight little battle right there.
Just dominant.
It's going in. Trying. Ooh, very respectful. But not going to happen yet. But this will probably develop in the next few corners. Ooh. Here goes Elliott going through safely.
Yeah. Following through is Peter Flanner.
Not as close as before.
Definitely not. It's a bit of a pace difference right now. Chris Kraus has been kind of backed up into Justin Lawyer here, who was near him, but like you said earlier, if he loses half a second, it comes back, and look at him, he just got past Chris Kraus. Justin Lawyer of West Coast Racing, yeah. We've seen a lot of overtakes before the bus stop, and just getting that inside line really helps you.
If you're feeling brave and confident, you can take the inside line, but it is a risky move if both of you decide to be headstrong, and usually comes out in tears, but people have been trying to survive.
Yeah,
it seems to be more of the aim.
And Scott Keith lands that move on Tony Casado into turn 1. They're following through the next couple in the infield here. He's just got to point his car in the right direction. It looks like he leaves that door open, though.
Ooh, went a little deep into that corner, and if you don't get the traction out, then that looks what Scott is doing now. Ooh, they're going into the kink with each other. Ooh.
Very close.
Ooh.
Jesse Olsen of OMEC joins them, and now that's the only Mercedes on the grid.
Wow, some tight racing here.
Absolutely. Very close.
And we got a question as to what does JD stand for. My theory is it's just Daniel.
Just dominance.
That's another one.
Over to Mike Bowen, who's got Trevor Bonesteel ahead of him in P4. They are now both side by side. And they're actually going to be side by side. Looks like his wheel is right there on that. Angling is a little wrong, but it looks like he's going to get up close for the turn 1, and they have a Porsche in front of them that went to the outside. Whoa!
They can just brake so late and so deep into that braking zone. I think it just scared that poor little Porsche.
Jordan Groves knows what it stands for. What he won't like me if I told you. So, yeah, we don't need to know.
Another theory now is, God damn, he's fast.
And look at the pressure that Mike Bowen is putting on Trevor Bonesteel. Reminder to everyone that's watching is Mike was P2. There's an incident on the opening lap, and it dropped him down the order, significantly down the order.
I believe 10 places.
Yeah, and he's down only 3.
That's quite a recovery. That's incredible. To come up from that, be a little flustered, make a mistake on the bus stop, have to take the slowdown, and to come back up to only 3 down, that's pretty impressive. Ooh, getting slowed down by this GT3, so he's going to lose that fight against Trevor Bonesteel for a little while.
But don't worry, it's going to be recovered here. Oh, we got Peter Flanner and Elliott Burton are battling out, and they got a driver of Emery Anderson who's a lap down. They're going to get past him, though. And they're not taking that into turn 1. So we'll go over to Trey Mistack, who's got Nathan Ray behind him.
I think at this point, between Peter Flanner and Elliott, they're probably just using each other for fuel saving.
Quite
Try to
possible.
push each other ahead.
You might be right there. This is a league versus leagues. You don't want to kill your teammates or your league mates.
Nope.
Going over to Jesse Olsen here on Scott Keith. The Mercedes is on the outside line. Does he have it?
Ooh. Looks like they've been battling for a bit because they lost contact with the car in front. Or the other Porsche in front.
Yeah, that was Gurkin, Demir, and P4. Now they still got a couple more of these prototypes to battle with. Also, John Javecki was a lap, not a lap, it was like 1.5 seconds back, and now he's right there on the rear of Jesse Olsen of OMEC.
And again, he was 10 spots down, and now he's only 6, so quite a good, decent recovery, especially on GT3s. That's difficult to do in this kind of high-speed track. So good on him. Hopefully the race continues on in his favor.
And yeah, just looking at it through that infield, Rodrigo, we saw they were close on entry into turn 1, and now looking at it, he's got a 7/10 separation to that driver in front of him that he was battling on the last lap. So really goofed. The prototypes really put him into a tough spot, losing time.
That, and if you don't get this exit onto this back straight right, which the Porsche can do 9 times out of 10, you lose a ton of time. And this is where we're seeing this gap build up to the Porsche in front of Scott Keith. Getting real close and friendly now.
Yeah, and the Corvette of John Javecki is, I think, showing a little bit of his pace here. He was roughly 7/10 faster. I think he has his move down.
It's got a great exit, but it's not enough quite yet for the King. So we'll see. Hopefully in the next few corners something may happen. Keeping it nice and tidy. Nothing aggressive, no dive bombs yet. But we'll see if he's just getting all up in his mirrors, trying to get in his head.
Oh, you know what I could say from John Javecki is that he's a very respectful driver. I think he's going to know when the move's on and he'll go for it, but it's going to be pretty blatantly obvious, or he's going to wait for a mistake.
Yes, he's a very patient driver. I end up racing him quite a lot in the GT3s and the different races we've done in the past, and he's very patient, and he knows when you make a mistake, and he will take advantage of all the seconds of it. He's trying, but it's hard in the top speed game between the Mercedes and the Corvette. Oh, but he's not he gave it up.
He's got it down.
It looks like he just gave it up, or unless he had a slowdown that he was serving in an interesting fashion.
A mild interruption, folks. Sorry about that. This is going to take a reset. He does get by him now, as you were saying.
That's really interesting. I'd be curious to know what happened, if he just decided, I think that's enough. I don't think I'll keep going at this pace for too long without making a mistake.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Maybe we won't be able to do any post-race conversations, but to know what actually happened there. Going over to Peter Flanner, who's actually, we're going to go over to Mike Bowen, who's back on the heels of Trevor Bonesteel. Just a small interruption, folks, with everything that was going on.
Man, and Trevor Bonesteel is a difficult person to try to get by. He drives very well, and exceptionally respectful, but does not give an inch. I think at this point, Mike Bowen is just waiting for a mistake to happen, or is just saving a ton of fuel. Definitely looks like he's saving fuel behind him. He's letting go of the accelerator quite a bit earlier.
Yeah, you could be right here, Rodrigo. People are, some of these GTPs or actually even the GT3s as well, are trying to save some fuel, splash a little bit less on the end. But we do have drivers who've already gone in the pit, who have already stopped. First one is it's a little bit further back is Dale Phil. Solnave? No, I'm not saying that. West Coast Racing. He's in 21 at the moment. He's down 13 positions. He did have an incident of some sort. Whoa. Somebody's off there in turn 1.
Yep, big cloud of smoke.
He's been in the pits for some time. It's unfortunate.
Yep, that's a car done. Unfortunate for Jeff. I know he's going to be frustrated with that result.
So here it is. Oh!
Oh, not even his fault. Yeah, that broke his steering.
That is unfortunate. It's another one of Robert Lowry. No, he seems to be fine.
It's probably just a slowdown.
Yeah, it just registered
or an off
that.
track.
Yeah, it just registered that incorrectly.
Yeah, unfortunately with this last stop, it'll register as oh. Yep. Oh. Keep it steady. Keep woof.
Now he's
good
doing
recovery.
Fine. He's gonna go in the pits for that. And just go and show the difference here of some of these drivers. You know, you got Eric Quo and P6, the driver ahead of him. It's in the infield here. P5, Jesse Olsen.
Oh, looks like John's still ahead, no problem.
Is ahead, but yeah, just going to show you, there's a few drivers on this grid that are still neck and neck with, or at least within attack distance of a driver. You know, Jesse Olsen has this on the down. Eric here is about 25 seconds back in P6. You know, Gurkan Demir, who was at the front of this grid in the GT3s, has had his own bouts of incidents that has set him back a little bit. He's only down one position, but he actually was really quick. He was up there at the front. He had gained a lot of positions, but now look at him. He's further back. He's got a 9-second gap to the CASS of Eric Quo here.
Did he have people start to pit? Or did he end up pitting Gurkan?
You know what? That actually makes the most sense here. Looking back 2 laps ago, he pit.
Okay.
So he's got a 25-second gap. Or no, he's got a 9-second gap to Eric Quo. Oh, all these drivers have gone in the pit lane now. John Javecki is also in there. Christopher Daniel is out there. Christopher Daniel takes the lead in the pit lane. Tyler Anderson gets out into P2. JD Daniel is in 3. He goes down a position. Actually, no, that's just what they started in. John Javecki's in 4th. Jesse Olsen goes through. Chris Quo goes through. And then here's Gurkan.
Yeah, it looks like he took the early pit stop, trying to do the undercut.
And it looks like it worked for some of these spots, as John Javecki is still not out of the pit lane. You can see him on the close to getting to the exit. But Gurkin Demir goes into P4, up 2 positions. That just rests my case on what I was talking about on all these times right now. Is Christopher Daniel is leading this race over over every other Broken Wing Racing League for 1, 2, 3 in the GT3s with Gurkin Demir in 4, CASS of Scott Keith in 6, and OMEC of Tony Casado in 7 with his teammate Jesse Olsen in 8.
I think the gap between the previous gap that Gurkin had to John Javecki is a lot smaller than what it was before. It's only about 5 seconds, it seems. So it seems like
5 seconds. So John Javecki's down 4.95. Yeah, but it's still a pretty good result. He's got the driver Scott Keith was battling, John Javecki on that last stint. But look at him now. He's got a good comfortable margin of 3.9 seconds in P5. Still down 4 positions, but I wouldn't be complaining on that one. I'll say that. Trevor
That's
Bonesteel.
a huge difference in a pit stop. That's over 10 seconds difference.
Well, yeah, and we'll look at it in a second. But Trevor Bonesteel, the only driver in the GTP class from P1 to P8, 19 has pit. Matt Benson is also another driver who's gone in the pit lane 4 laps ago. So we're going to see whether or not this is going to be a good move for Trevor Bonesteel. But back over to what you're saying, John Javecki had a 52.6 on his pit stop, but it's not that much different. 53.2. Yeah, you're still looking at some time.
Oh, yeah, I was mentioning more of that car behind him. It's not 10 seconds, apologies. About 3.2 seconds.
Oh,
difference.
yeah. Oh, yeah, Scott, but that's the margin we were looking for. They were neck and neck, and now with that extra set of time that he put on that pit stop, probably for more fuel.
No, actually, no. It was he had the Mercedes behind him of Jesse Olsen, and that is a huge difference.
Oh, but Jesse Olsen has this. He did a 1 minute 9.
Yeah, we're talking over 14-second difference.
Yeah, that's definitely a
massive.
That is quite something. Must have had some really some type of damage that he wanted to cut.
More than likely, this was a very unforgiving start, and caught out definitely quite a lot of the top drivers or higher placed drivers. So it's been an interesting race so far.
Mm-hmm. There's Erica Molinati of West Coast Racing in the GTP class, 15-second gap to Elliot Burton in P2. Peter Flanner, whatever that was happening for these drivers, they were super close most of this race, and I guess the pace difference has changed a little bit. 6.7-second gap.
Looks like the lead GTP drivers have not pitted yet.
They have not. So
it'll be curious to see who comes out on top on this.
Well, looking at it here, we have John Schwartz who's going to wrap out the 1 through 8 that have not pit. After that, it's every other GTP class driver is also not pit. Minus Trevor Bonesteel and Matt Benson, who have. It's been 3 laps for Trevor Bonesteel. John Schwartz is 15 seconds difference to this driver who's behind him.
Yeah, it looks like John already pitted. Looks like John already pitted though.
No, he's not. Well, my data is that he's been out on this full stint, 27 laps.
Huh. Maybe I'm reading the notes wrong.
The relative says lap 12. But the relative is notoriously iffy when it comes to these things, I would say. Because if we go over to a driver ahead of him, it doesn't actually... You know what?
He might have pitted in lap 12 for some damage.
Elliot Burton is going in. Eric Molinati is not. Peter Flanders going in. Mike Bowen's going to stay out. Trey Mistak staying out. Nathan Ray is going into the pits. Luke Patrick, we'll see what he does. But if John Schwartz did pit, then I guess we'll see him just go up the leaderboard here. That's going to be slightly... I'm not sure if that's going to be unlikely. Luke Patrick of West Coast Racing stays out. Now,
well, it looks like John would have to do a little splash and dash at the end if he had to pit that early.
Yeah, I think that just might be a mistake. Now, with that said, is Trevor Bonesteel going to make any positions off those drivers that have gone in the pit lane?
We'll see. Looks like
Elliot Burton is back out. He's got John Schwartz just ahead of him. Peter Flanders back out. Nathan Ray is back out. Trevor Bonesteel is getting close, but not close enough.
It's very close pit times. Looks like Peter ran a little 2.5 seconds over, so he's putting really close.
You know, Elliot Burton has got John Schwartz in his sights. Did that 50.2. Peter Flanders.
That's a pretty good pit stop.
Yeah, was that 3.3 seconds more for Peter Flanders?
Yeah, that's right. Quite a difference in fuel usage and strategy here.
There goes Elliot Burton. Ooh. Very close on that in the middle part of that bus stop. That is.
Looks like he did lift a little bit because
yeah,
Jan is right back through. Ooh, but now it's gonna be a close one going into T1. Nope, kept it.
Keeps the position. Mike Bowen racing out, and he's in P4 at the moment. Is he going to be able to keep it? Trey Mistak's coming out as well in P5. Peter Flanders in 6. He is back out and kind of close to Trey. He's only half a second off, so...
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Now Peter's back on the back of another BWRL teammate, so we'll see how this plays out.
Definitely that. I'm kind of curious if something happened for Peter Flanders, because you got to think about earlier on in this stint, we had
2 massive incidents. Oh, is that Mike Bowen?
That's Mike Bowen.
Spun.
Take a look at this. He was by himself. Yeah.
Maybe cold tires.
Yeah, just came out of the pits. Might have
Definitely
taken
cold
rights.
tires. Between cold tires and people spinning around there and pushing stuff back on track, that could have been the perfect recipe for a spin.
And you know, that's the difference between being on your out lap and being on your in lap. Peter Flanders getting past Trey Mistak before the bus stop.
Oh, wow.
And John Schwartz actually battling out Elliot Burton for that P2 spot. He must have pit, but its stint still says he's not gone in.
That's interesting. Ooh. His tires look a little upset after that corner. He's painting the track with his 4 tires there. Ooh.
Yeah, Rodrigo, one thing I wanted to add is that early... Whoa!
Ooh, no, that was...
Ray.
Yeah, he definitely accidentally pushed him off track. He touched that curve and it launches you straight to the other side of that curve.
Yeah, and that was the Mercedes of Jesse Olsen, who just didn't really need to be bullied like that.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate, hey, I touched this curve and the curve launched me over to you, and sorry, but you get punted out of the track.
Yeah, I mean, we have, to be fair, we haven't seen a lot of moves. I think everything's been, relatively clean. Still mostly, I would say, there were some incidents that occurred, but dang, that was something. Hello, Ankara. But Trevor Bonesteel is now on the heels of Nathan Ray. But Rodrigo, one thing I wanted to add was Elliot Burton is up 11 positions at the start of this race, and through goes Trevor Bonesteel. All right.
That's incredible. That's a good move.
Yeah.
Also, that is a great race for Elliott. 11 positions is a lot of work to do and a lot of consistency. And I think especially at the beginning, to survive without issue was probably the biggest contributor to that. But I don't want to minimize the skill that it would take to do all that and come out ahead and still be driving faster than most of these people on track.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't disagree. But what I was also trying to add in here is, whoa! He goes for the move on the inside. He gets it back on track. A little bit of tires on Nathan Ray now ahead. Even though they're team league mates, this race isn't over for them on position because they're trying to maximize. They are not. They're not racing. It's kind of seemed like a racing like they're not in part of the same league. They're going for it.
For a moment I was like, man, is he part of BWRL? Because man, that was a cent and a half. But I think he might have lost the braking marker trying to look at the GT3s.
Yeah, and he might have a slowdown.
In the GTPs, that braking marker comes up real quick. If you're not paying attention or trying to look at something else, poof.
It's getting very spicy. I agree. That was quite something. Yeah,
just like he gained the position back though from that send.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Good on both drivers to avoid an incident on that.
If I know anything about Nathan Ray, in practice, he probably would have been screaming, "Oh no, sorry, Trevor," and then and then it would have been settled right there in the voice chat. But yeah, I never got to say it prior, but 11 positions gained. But he was right next to Peter Flanner, and we were talking about this earlier. Peter Flanner was right on the heels, and you're saying how they were going to ebb and flow and use each other for fuel. But there is a 21 second, not a 21 second gap, but closer to 10 seconds, 11 seconds to Elliott Burton. So that is just a significant change. And John Schwartz still out there.
That was a send into Jeff.
I'm really curious if that lap 12 really is
a pit or not.
Yeah. It's been accurate for every other driver on this grid. We have Drew Glover, who says he's pit on lap 13, and Nick Terrell, who of OMEC Racing, is also on lap 15. Lilac Zier says he pit on lap 12. But was it enough fuel for the end of this race?
I unfortunately don't know the fuel consumption and usage of GTPs well enough to make a good, accurate guess.
Yeah, that's
a little bit of bump drafting. That's a lot of trust.
Oh, and he's actually really good on there.
That was a very nice line. Yep. And he's right on there.
One of the very few battles that's happening right here on track, because everyone else is kind of split after pit stops. Look at that gap. Eric Molinati in P1 right still at West Coast Racing. Almost 14 seconds to Elliott Burton.
Wow.
And OMEC's John Schwartz is doing really well. He's P3.
What laps is Eric Molinati putting in?
Eric Molinati, his last lap was a 130.7. Elliott Burton's last lap was 131.3. Dude's just putting in quick laps. And Lord McKinney, thank you for the follow. TNT Me TV, thanks also for the follow. And Ollie O225, thank you for the follow. Yeah, Fark Moly, they are looking good in both classes. You can see in the GTP class 1 through 15, BWRL is doing really well in the top 10. Every team, every league has a driver in the top 10. You have Drew Glover of Can-Am Sim Sport, your P8 highest drivers, John Schwartz of OMEC in P3, West Coast Racing and Eric Nolanati in P1, and Elliot Burton in P2 for the Brooklyn Racing League. Then going over to John Schwartz is getting closer to Elliot Burton, 7/10 difference here. We'll keep an eye on this one. But going over, Christopher Daniels has got a good lead of 1.8 to Tyler Anderson, both Brooklyn Racing League drivers. Goes J.D. Daniel in P3, and Gerken Demir of West Coast Racing in P4, John Javecki in P5, kind of rounding up that 1 through 5. And then you have Can-Am Sim Sport of Scott Keith in P6. He's doing really well for CASS. CASS has a lot of the drivers in CASS are all kind of close together. You can see that in the P13 through 16 in the GTP class. Very close on pace. Tony Casado of OMEC is in P7 with his league mate in 8 of Jesse Olsen. Just behind him, 8 seconds, 8.2. And then, you have Tyler J. Campbell and Justin Lawyer of West Coast Racing in 9 and 10, rounding it out. So it's still really well done for every league in the split so far. Overall, it looks like Broken Wing Racing League has got like an upper hand in terms of drivers that are in the top 10 at the moment.
Definitely. I think
they hold P3 to P7, and that's it at this moment. OMEC's got that second spot on Elliot Burton, John Schwartz, I should say, and then, rounding it out with the 8, 9, 10 is CASS, West Coast Racing, and OMEC.
Wow, yeah. Jan back through. Interesting. But it looks like Jan is putting in quite a few good laps, but I'm curious to see if maybe he's just putting in those laps because he has less fuel in there, because, well, again, we don't know if he's pitted yet or not. We're unsure.
Yeah, with 5 laps to go, I guess we'll see if John Schwartz literally pit on lap 12 and had just dumped a full thing of fuel and has been fuel saving. Did have to push a little bit on one of those laps to attack Trey Mistack. It's no small feat to get past Trey Mistack. He is an extremely fast, quick, and elite driver. Trevor Bonesteel is also really quick. There's Nathan Ray just behind 1 second. It's almost 9/10. They're all going to be possibly battling it out at the end. We have 5 laps to go.
Yeah, that should be for an exciting last few laps.
Yeah.
Very tight margins here.
Not only that, they've been racing 35 laps and 1 pit stop. Possibly they took rights for the GTPs. Didn't make sense for the GT3s.
Usually the rears is what I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not too sure about Daytona, but most of the time the rears end up getting burnt out quite a lot from just the sheer amount of power that these GTPs put out.
Look at that flow through that.
Oh, that high downforce just makes it look really easy, but you're literally at the edge of spinning out that entire time.
Yeah. I won't mention it. It was a very funny thing that was said in practice about downforce and getting that. What's that? Oh, wow!
Getting the vacuum behind the car in front of you is what we'll say for safe for work terms.
Yeah, the vacuum. Nathan Ray, a little bit of a moment there on turn 1, but he's kept it close. Trevor Bonesteel.
I do know, at least from a few mentions in passing, Peter was kind of struggling in finding a decent setup for the Acura. He was just not having a great time with the GTP itself, so be curious to hear kind of what happened from him, and maybe that's kind of what's happening, because I know with this update a lot of these, again, the setups have all changed. So it's hard to know if you got it right.
Oh. It didn't seem like this was even possible, but Trevor Bonesteel is caught right back up to Trey Mistak with 3 laps to go.
And especially after he got caught out by GT3 between them, so that's interesting. That's... Oh.
And then Scott Dancer there, Porsche, West Coast Racing, that lime green Porsche, definitely feeling like, oh, gotta let these guys by. It's
just driving to survive.
Yeah. 5 P3 and GT3s? No. JD Daniels got a 1.1 second gap to Kirk and Demir. And it looks like Aaron CJ Mills of CASS trying to get by, and does get by Adam Dahl, P18, down in turn 1. And as far as close racing goes, Broken Ring Racing League of P5, 6, and 7 are the closest on track that are going to make something happen if something does happen 2 laps to go.
That is really close. 0.4 is not very much.
From previous street fights, I will say this is an extremely impressive one. I think a lot of the field of drivers has gone closer than it has ever gone before. I know one time Broken Wing Racing League really just shut out the top 10, but it doesn't really seem like they're doing just that this go around. 3 through 7 seems great, but they have a lot of other drivers that are battling it out there with them. It's really cool to see because these leagues are massive. And it's only taking the top 12 drivers from each league, 6 in each class, and putting them out there on track. Ooh, some dust picked up. Oh, that is a
Luke
lapped
Philippon?
GTP. Yeah. Glover of CASS and P8, now brought Luke Patrick of West Coast Racing into contention at the second pack.
Oh boy.
I see that. Eric Molinati just finished into P1, and we'll get over to him in just a second as we have our drivers still remaining. Nathan Ray, can he do something across the line? John Schwartz of OMEC Racing into P2, and he goes through. Trey Mistak in just ahead there, and he's going to be
P5.
P5, Trevor Bonesteel holds on to 6, Nathan Ray in 7, Drew Glover down the line. Can they go across the line? Might be a photo finish, but it looks like Luke Patrick gets ahead into P8 across the line, and he gets it. Drew Glover takes it on the very end there. Luke Patrick on Drew Glover for P8, Drew Glover in 9, Nick Terrell in 10, Mike Bowen in 11. Lilac Zier still has a little bit ways to go to contend with his final spot there, but Ben Grabeau in P13 of CASS, Ian Arnold of CASS in P14, Luke Philippone in 15 for CASS, Emery Anderson in 16 for CASS, Nathan Sides and Matt Benson of OMEC in 17 and 18. They finish as well. And then Christopher Daniel of Broken Wing Racing League in P1, Tyler Anderson 2, and JD Daniel of Broken Wing Racing League, all 2 and 3. Gherkin Demir in 4, John Chavecki in 5, Scott Keith in 6, OMEX of Tony Casado in 7, Jesse Olsen in 8. Yeah, they're doing some stuff here.
It's a great recovery drive from John Chavecki. Unfortunate that it didn't happen early on, but that's some dedicated racing to come back.
Absolutely, and getting through just the rest of those drivers, it was Tony Casado in 7, Jesse Olsen in 8, Justin Lawyer in 9, Eric Quo in 10, Tyler J. Campbell in 11, Omex Chris Kraus in 12, Evan Gramke in 13, Jared Stavek in 14, Alex Holler in 15, Scott Weber in 16, Sergey Lenov in 17, Aaron C.J. Mills in 18, Adam Dahl in 19, Scott Dancer in 20. Then it goes down further back from that of Robert Lowry and Matthew Wyckoff in 19 and 20 in the GTP class.
Man, oh man.
Back, just listing out those last few. What a great run. Congratulations goes in order to the West Coast Racing of Eric Molinati winning this race with the P2 of John Schwartz of OMEC Racing. And what a great drive for those two drivers. I guess we know the answer there, Rodrigo. He pit on lap 12 and he got to finish it out. That undercut worked for him.
That's incredible because he was like P10 after coming out of the pits, and then he ended up P2. So what a heck of a drive!
Must have had some clean air without a lot of traffic. And also congratulations to the Broken Wing Racing League drivers in 1, 2, and 3 there for the GT3s of Christopher Daniel, Tyler Anderson, and JD Daniel. The Daniels, no relation. They're just something. Thanks everybody for joining us, and thank you Rodrigo, Thierry, for joining me in the commentators booth. And not only that, I truly appreciate it. It was a blast that he joined me. I hope everyone else enjoyed this commentary.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of tight racing. That was great to see from this perspective and angle, and hopefully provide something useful,
Absolutely. And not only that, if you like this multi-class racing, we have an LMP2, we have a Le Mans series that it's an endurance series that is going to be airing on the 18th on Tuesday, and that is going to be me with another commentator. And that is an endurance that happens it's already set on the schedule, so look at it on our Twitch schedule, and that's like 5:45, I think, Pacific Standard. I think Easter time, it's about roughly 8:45, 9. But that's a big multi-class. Yes. We have over 48 teams, 48 teams, at least 2 pairs of drivers for each team. Driver swaps will be initiated. There's going to be 3 drivers are on a couple of these teams as well. So just join us for that. And thank you for West Coast Racing for joining us here. I mean, it was a blast having them, as well as Can-Am, SimSport, CASS, Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge, as well of OMEC, for participating. All 3 leagues. Fantastic racing from everybody. It was very close. And thanks again, Rodrigo, for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again to the other leagues. That was fantastic. That was a great pool of talent. And you know what? It's always fun to race new people. And to see this kind of racing and this kind of respect and dedication, I mean, this is what iRacing and racing in general is about. This was amazing.
Yep, and I couldn't say it better. Thank you, everybody in the cheap seats that were talking. And Celsius is a valid unit of measurement. I'll say that to sign us off there. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. And we wish Eric Molinati congratulations, as well as Christopher Daniel, both GTP, GT3 champions. And see ya.
Alrighty, see you guys.